Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
Well, it is Sunday Night Live. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. Well, we got some interesting stuff this weekend, and we're going to talk about it all. But this is your show. This is Sunday Night Live. Your show. You pick the topics. Unless, well, you don't, then I'll do it for you. Anyways, the way it works, Sunday Night Live, hit that button up there, Super Chat or Venmo, CashApp, PayPal, down in the description below. Gets you on the screen, will make you famous, and you get to pick the topics. You get to pick the subjects. I really like that. It's been a good thing we've done for years and years and years as we've delved deeper and deeper, down and down into the dark, dingy, dungy filth of SHTF. So, and a special note, when we do a $50 or more super chat, then I get an 18-year single malt scotch, and we've got Glenfiddich. Oh, yeah, it's a small batch 18 on this bottle, and it has been absolutely wonderful. Now, every week we start off with, well, people who bring in $50 super chats right off the bat. And every week we have at least two people, and Chin Music and Darcy T. You'd like to start the show off every week right out the gate. And I have to say, I really appreciate the great support. I appreciate the great support from all of you. And it's funny how throughout the show, I go to myself, it's about time for this person or that person or the other. I don't want to start naming because then I'll forget. You know, I'll say Dan the man, then I'll forget to say Boomer, and then I'll forget to say X, Y, and Z. In any event, folks, we had some really fascinating shit happen this weekend, and we have stuff coming in the coming weeks. So let's start with this. Let's do a super chat, $50, and actually it's $50 plus a 30-06. So 5306, there it is right there. Right up to, well, the 30 caliber bullet in the shot glass. Uh-oh, Chin Music ordered a little tall. Semper Fi to one and all. God bless America. Whew. And we've got a hell of a fight coming down the hatch. Oh, and that's how we're going to start the show off. Woo, like mother's milk. So Chin Music says, hey, I had to laugh today talking to one of my friends. He said things are getting weird. When I left, he asked me what was so funny. I said, getting weird? Where have you been? Chin Music says, people are sleepwalking into what's coming. It's quite possible the Civil War that's already cold will go hot at the law enforcement level. He said, what's going to happen when a California Highway Patrol guy tries to arrest an ICE officer because he won't take his mask off? Shit's getting weird fast. Well, what he's referring there is federal law enforcement, Immigration and Customs Enforcement in California is there to remove the illegal aliens, the illegal criminal aliens who have come across the United States of America's border, and that is the domain, the authority of the federal government to protect that border, to enforce our border control laws, and to remove anyone who has violated those laws or arrest them or both. That would be Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So why has the California Highway Patrol, affectionately known as the Chippers or CHP, why would they be involved in this question about what the hell is going to happen? Well, in California, the governor there, Gavin Gruesome Newsom, I guess his wife had sex with Harvey Weinstein. Yeesh. Anyways, Gavin Newsom's California passed a law saying that, federal agents can't wear masks. right? The reason they're wearing masks is to protect their identity from illegals and also terrorists who are now threatening people, finding out who they are, following them home, threatening their families, etc. That's, hey, it's a tough world. And they used to say something like, all is fair in love and war. And now we've got rules for this and rules for that. In any event, California says you can't wear a mask. Federal law enforcement, the Trump administration says, we don't give a shit what you think. We're federal law enforcement officers under federal authority in a state to enforce federal law. You can't tell us what to do. So yeah, what would happen if a California Highway Patrol officer decides he's going to try and enforce a state law while that federal officer is in the state? Now, right out the gate, the first thing I'm going to say is not going to be a problem. Not going to be a problem for a reasonable California Highway Patrol officer for a couple of reasons. Number one, most of them and most cops play the back the blue game and they don't bother each other. They certainly won't bother each other over this. But what if the Highway Patrol is ordered not to go after conservatives who don't want to wear masks, not to have the California Highway Patrol harass protesters at the state capitol who don't like the lockdown bullshit, right? Because they came out in force for that. But if they were ordered to tell ICE or Department of Homeland Security or the DEA or anyone else to take off their masks and leave, and those officers refuse, I don't see that happening unless the California Highway Patrol is not just law enforcement, but is rather partisan law enforcement. In other words, left-wing leaning, super Democrat California Highway Patrol to go after immigrations and customs enforcement. Now, here we are, folks. We're at an unusual place in history where the concept of law enforcement is no longer about law and order. It is now about whether you want to enforce a law or not, whether you agree with the law or not based on your politics. It used to be if we pass a law and the law is lawfully passed, or an executive like a governor or even the president has the authority to do something and he takes that authority seriously and handles the problem, everyone else goes, well, it's perfectly normal because that's part of the law and order system we have. Well, in the year 2025, none of that matters anymore. I have seen more or read more Democrats trying to quote the law, quote the Constitution, or quote the oath of office on social media, quoting it in an effort to show how wrong President Trump is. They misquote it, they misread it, or they read exactly the opposite of what it says in plain, common English. It's not difficult. But for some reason now, folks, the partisanship is so blinding that they can't even read English. They can't even study, read, and comprehend the simplest of concepts. Is it the Jim Jones juice cooking their brains? I don't know what they put in water to make Trump derangement syndrome so bad that they cannot logically think, but that's where we're at. So I guess I could go with Chin Music's comments and thoughts here and say, can Highway Patrol suffer from the same problem? The answer is yes. We already have enough trouble with law enforcement, whether they're Republicans or Democrats. We have enough trouble with them trying to understand the concept of the Constitution, the First Amendment, the Second, the Fourth, the Fifth, that's for sure. Sometimes the Seventh. It's crazy business, folks. This world we live in, you need to be extremely careful, prudent, if you will. You need to be fully aware that everyone that we come in contact with, whether they look like us or look differently, whether they're civilians or whether they're in government uniforms, You don't know what their mental condition is. You don't know. Now, that is a problem that a lot of policemen face on a daily basis. Police, sheriff's deputies, state troopers, etc., is when they pull over a vehicle for speeding, a traffic infraction, something minor. They don't know the mental condition of the person in the vehicle they've stopped. So they approach that vehicle cautiously. They assess the entire way from the moment that they saw the vehicle, they saw the infraction, the speeding, whatever happened, changing lanes without a turn signal, look out. They start watching that vehicle, the way it drives, it's erratic. Does it pull over quickly? Does it pull over safely? Do they use their turn signal to pull over, right? What's going on? Are there extra people in the car? They start studying the situation instantly. And they approach the vehicle from such an angle as to provide them the best defense in case someone in the vehicle becomes violent, has a gun. You see, that's the issue. And then when they're dealing with the driver, they may have to have them get out of the vehicle. A lot of times that's not a good situation for police because the person wants to get out. They want to fight, and they can't fight from within the car, but they're ordered to get out. And now they can fight. You see what I'm saying is they deal with that all the time. Now, the question I have for you is when you see people and you're around people, do you take any of those steps so that you're prepared in case someone wants to get out of hand? Like they're itching for a problem, right? The policeman's just like, I'm just going to tell you not to speed. You pull a fucking gun on me, right? The policeman's like, I was going to give this person a warning, right? I'm feeling good about myself. Got a nice cup of coffee, feeling right. I just want to tell this person, hey, be sure to use your lane. There's a lot of traffic out, your turn signal. And then they end up with a face full of someone screaming at them, right? For us, as regular people, same situation. You could be walking down the street, everything's fine. You see one person who's just kind of weaving and dodging and acting a little weird. If they zero in on you, right? Unbelievable. I got a friend who is standing in a store in a line, checking out. I think the store was, it was a TJ Maxx, a Ross. It doesn't matter, right? Standing in line, getting rung up for items that were purchased. And someone, several registers over, started yelling and ended up calling my friend a bitch. I'm going to kick your ass. And she's just like, she said she just looked around like, I don't know, am I the one being talked to, right? What did I do? I went shopping. I'm standing in line. I'm going to get out. And some people just go off. Are you prepared? Yeah, folks, people are on edge. It's a little crazy. Shit has hit the fan and it's not going to get better. Welcome to the show, folks. We got a lot more coming. It's your show, your questions. We'll get them down below. But first, super chat donations. I got to tell you, share that internet address up above. Share the internet address. We've got a lot to talk about. Share the internet address. Hit the thumbs up. And if you want to comment, you also have to be a subscriber. You've got to be a subscriber. So hit the subscribe button. You got to be a subscriber for 5 minutes and you can start commenting. Now, let's move on to the next super chat donation. And it is Darcy T with a question for tonight. She's doing a $50 PayPal super chat. And your super chats, folks, they buy more than just the scotch, which is, by the way, a very delightful bonus for me. But it puts tuna fish, Spam, and other products in the pantry. Additionally, folks, keeps the lights on, the computers going, the servers, all of the information sources that I have subscriptions to. Here it is. Anyways, Darcy T, thank you, my lady. So good. Woo! Semper Fi. So Darcy T says, good evening, John and the Prepared Mind family. She says, I guess I have the obvious question. There's another church shooting with fire, this time on a Mormon church. some deranged guy has been identified. Wondering if this is just another random nut job or another attempt to keep the masses occupied whilst other nefarious activities are going down. Your take? Well, I've been waiting for something bigger to come out. I've got a lot of information on this particular shooter. He's an older guy, around 40. He is a former Marine. It appears that he doesn't have any strong political affiliations. Apparently, he was married, has at least one kid. He's pictured holding a child who is holding a duck by the neck that he shot. But he supposedly rammed his truck into the church, set it on fire, and people have died, right? It's not the best business to be in right now, being in church, right? Makes me wonder about that. So, you know, the first question that came to my mind was, is that Antifa or a Muslim? Is it BLM or a transgender? Who was the shooter at this Mormon church in Grand Blanc, Michigan? Now, there's somewhere between 6 to 8 victims total, right? Just another tragedy with these people. It's always another tragedy. And I do wonder, Darcy, I do wonder, right, how organized are these? You know, this time it is a white man. They didn't have any problem releasing his picture. But if he was right wing, if he was Republican, I think that they would definitely release that really quick. So because nothing has been released, it's the motive is at question. So the police have said, hey, we're investigating. We're trying to find out what this guy believes. I don't think it's random. You don't ram your fucking truck into a church. You don't set it on fire. You don't start shooting people unless you've got a serious problem. One of the things that bothers me is, what did this guy hope to gain by doing this? If your objective is to kill people, don't you think there'd be a better way to kill more people? If your objective is to wake people up, can't you do that without killing people and causing massive damage? So the motive and then also the objective is a bit lost on me at this time, which makes me suspicious, because every person out there who has been doing these sorts of things as of late, and correct me if I'm wrong, has had a manifesto. They've had an axe to grind. Either it's the transgender that had a problem with that church, or a transgender that hates children, or a transgender furry butt pirate that hates Charlie Kirk. And every shooter on these mass shooters has been left-leaning, or should I say Democrat, socialist, or communist, or Muslim. And it's a religious thing. We're going to have some trouble, folks. It's getting more common, more frequent. But your other comment, Darcy, is this done as a distraction? Now, I don't think things are done as distractions as often as we might want to believe. What I do know is Washington, D.C. is full. And when I say full, I mean full up to the neck of attorneys writing legislation, having it neat and tidy on a desk in a folder, ready to go the moment it is most opportune. So every lobbyist out there, every corporation that wants some legislation, here we go, right? Every NGO, non-government organization, the Southern Poverty Law Center, the ACLU, they all have an axe to grind in a particular thing they want passed. And so they have legislation pre-drafted, all ready to go. So the moment a crime comes up, they can offer that as the solution. It used to be, after any shooting of any significance, a fucking Democrat would run up swinging and waving fucking anti-gun safety common sense gun legislation. But as these transgender, Muslim, BLM, Antifa fruitcakes start their shooting violence, where is the call by these people? Where is it? Where's the call to confiscate guns? So I had a friend today talk to me about this and said, John, because that's what my friends call me, says, John, why is it that these Democrats hate guns, want to take them away, yet they're the ones using them to commit these crimes, these heinous crimes and mass murderings and assassinations? I said, what you don't understand, because you haven't experienced it, is meeting communists who share with you, because they've shared with me, exactly what they believe. And they believe that none of us should have guns, but they should. Not just they as in the Democrats or they as in the government, but they as the communist individual. They don't believe anyone else can be trusted, but they can be trusted. And I literally, I'm like, are you telling me as a veteran, as a trained expert, that I am not trustworthy as an American, a taxpayer, a law-abiding citizen? I'm not trustworthy to own a firearm, a gun, a rifle, a shotgun, a handgun. Even as trained as I am, right? Skilled with a weapon, I can't be trusted. He's like, nope. I go, what about you, fuckstick? Well, I know I'm safe. One of the three communists I know is a schizophrenic. I sure hope he has had his weapons taken from him. He was hearing voices, and I ain't shitting you. And this is long before COVID. The second one, married a divorcee, did not like one of her children, and pulled a revolver out and pointed at one of her son's faces. That's the second communist I know. And the third communist I know is actually an Army veteran who, the moment he got a degree in college, decided he was going to yell at everyone he knew professionally and tell them how much smarter and better he was at everything. In other words, they're a bunch of fucking elitist, snobby, self-righteous, hypocritical fucks. Upside, downside, and every side. So the question, again, my friend today says, well, why do they get to have guns? Why? They hate guns. I go, no, you don't understand. They just don't want us to have guns. They don't want you to have guns. They want to keep their guns. So then the next question was, this is a great follow-up question. This friend looks at me and she says, well, wait. Well, if we don't have guns, then they can shoot us. I said, exactly. Now you're catching on. Because if they shoot us, then they go, well, gee, if he wasn't such a jerk, well, he threatened me. Well, he did this, he did that. So it's okay to shoot him because I'm a communist and I know better, right? I'm a good communist, just like all of these people, all of these left-wingers. They know better. They can commit any crime. They can break any law, and it's not a crime, just like Jasmine Crockett says. Just because you commit a criminal act, that doesn't make you a criminal. It depends on your politics. So, my friends, brothers and sisters, we are moving into the era of the purge, where there is no right and wrong. There is only partisan beliefs and the ability to act on those beliefs to hurt others. SHTF. They truly believe they are right and you are wrong, my friends. They can insult you all day, but if you insult them, that's a microaggression, and they can react with whatever level of violence they feel like. They can call anyone in the Trump administration, including the president himself, a fascist, even though that's a dog whistle that means murder and assassinate. And by dog whistle, you blow a dog whistle, you don't hear the noise. It's actually silent, right? The dog can hear it and knows what to do. So, in other words, code. They use codified phrases that show and direct and intend to cause people to do harm to others. So calling people fascist, Nazi, Hitler. When you call someone that, it means we have decided that person needs to be killed. Here we are. Trump has been shot once, attempted assassination twice. Elon Musk has been threatened several times, as far as we know. We had Charlie Kirk assassinated. Christians are being assassinated. Children are being assassinated en masse. Mass killings / assassinations by political motivated left-wing people who think they're superior to everyone else, even though they can't even put their own hand in their pants and find out what their own gender is. All right, it is the Prepared Mind channel. Share the internet address up above with your friends, family, loved ones, even people you don't like. Fuck them. Send them the link. Email, text, carrier pigeon, I don't care. People need to wake the hell up. They need to get prepared. When I say prepared, it is mentally prepared, as well as food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Now, interestingly, years ago, the only people who really had guns were, well, conservatives. And then somewhere along the line, the Democrats figured out, we better get guns too. And now Democrats, especially the Antifa, BLM, tranny types, they've started gun clubs, get-together clubs, and shooting clubs and training. They are now actively shooting and training to kill you and me. Believe it. Fucking believe it. Like I said, you can be walking down the street and you don't have any clue that someone's targeting you. Someone wants to kill you for a bumper sticker you have or something that they think makes you a Trump lover. Good golly. All right, folks, it is Sunday Night Live, and here we got Uman. And this is interesting. Both shooters, because we had another mass shooting this weekend. Both Michigan and the other was in North Carolina, folks. They were what? They were Marine Corps veterans. Don't worry, there's lots of Marine Corps veterans out there who have been involved with guns, namely, or most notably, Lee Harvey Oswald, who killed, allegedly, John F. Kennedy. He didn't. He wasn't the guy. Uman says, number one, something smells fishy about that. It's because they didn't shower. Number two, just a reminder that all vets are not on our side. Plenty of leftist vets. Don't underestimate the left's training. Okay, Uman is making some very salient and important points. I'm going to start with his last first and go through these. Do not underestimate the training that even these left-wing people get, because there are people who have enough experience to handle a weapon, whether it's a handgun or a rifle or shotgun, and show others how to do the same. They may not be the most proficient. They may not be the most skilled, the most qualified, but they're taking someone who is on a 1 to 10 scale, 1 to 10 scale of firearms competency. You're taking an Antifa person, a BLM person, a tranny that knows absolutely jack shit. They know dick. Well, faggots know a lot of dick. They're a 1. Well, this training guy isn't a 10, but he takes those ones that are left-wingists and they bring him up to a level 3 or 4 or 5. Well, now they go from being completely incompetent and a danger to themselves to semi-competent and a danger to others. So don't underestimate it. Any training for these people is an improvement over no training and stupidity. Okay, so understand that. The other part, there are plenty of leftist, left-wing, communist veterans. And like I said, I met a communist. He is an army vet. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? How do you take an oath to the Constitution, the very document that you're sworn to obey and protect the people, when in fact your belief system says kill people you don't like and force them to give up all their property? Well, it's because, the jihadis, the communists, Antifa, the trannies, people, they're completely lost and they're willing to lie about everything and anything as long as they get their belief system handled. Now, something smells fishy. Interesting. All of a sudden, we go from tranny, fruitcake killers to now in one weekend, 2 killings, 2 shooting systems, rather, 2 events where both the shooters are Marine Corps veterans. Something is fishy. Doesn't smell right. Why now? Well, let me switch over here to the other shooting. 3 killed and 8 wounded at a dock. It's a dockside restaurant. But someone opens fire from a boat in Southport, North Carolina. And he goes up to the dock and he opens up fire from the boat at a dockside restaurant. It would not surprise me if these guys, Marines or not, are left-wingers because they're out there. They could be Antifa or just plain old fucking communists. So I ask again the question, are you prepared at all times for violence from communists anywhere? Violent scumbags anywhere. It doesn't matter really if they're violent and trying to kill you. Are you prepared to take cover, to return fire, to help others escape, to get your own ass out of there, right? Whatever it is you need to do, are you prepared to do it? Because you know going into something, I'm not carrying a gun, I can't return fire. Okay, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to run for it? Am I going to help others? Am I going to try and tackle the person anyway? It's just, are you prepared up here? Right? Because the muscles, the hands, the body, it obeys what happens up here. If you're not prepared, you're not trained, you're going to have a hell of a time making a difference to save your own life. So yeah, something smells really fishy. The restaurant where 3 were killed and 8 were wounded. Well, that's shooting from a boat into a restaurant. Killed 3, 8 wounded. That's 11 people. Right? The other guy didn't seem to do as much damage, but he did set fire to the church. So it just lets you know, how many people can get hurt just by one gunman. Very interesting stuff. Thank you, Uman, by the way. Thank you very much. We've got a lot to talk about. I don't want to just focus on these guys, but I'm starting to think, are you? That shit is going to get flat ass nasty. I expected a lot more Antifa, BLM, transgender, and Muslim violence. I've been expecting a lot more, but it just hasn't hit yet. But here we are. It's starting to really hit and hit home. And before we go too much further, I want to talk about the Jim Jones juice, right? What's going on with that? All right. This is a bonus from Darcy T. Sent me a message and let me know that tragedy has happened. Mom is blaming the energy drinks. That's why I put on Dr. Grouchy's Jim Jones juice energy drink, right? 28-year-old dies of a heart attack. Heart attack. 28-year-old. Mom is blaming the energy drinks. I know a lot of people that have these energy drinks all the time. What do they have in them? Caffeine, usually. A couple of, what are the vitamins and minerals these things come with? Right? It's like taking a handful of vitamins and a cup of coffee and drinking. I don't know why the energy drinks are so much more dangerous, but they are. Right, amino acids are a big thing they put in them, but everything has amino acids. So I just don't get it, but I do. I look at everything now, especially in a suspicious death, and I blame the Jim Jones juice because that seems to be a common denominator. In any event, folks, it's your show. There's a super chat button right up there. If you've got something you want to talk about, Let's get into it and do a deep dive and really go through things. It's your show. Let's do it. Mr. Uman, who's up next? We're at 300 people live right now, and it's Dan Erickson. Dan, the man with a $5 super chat donation. And he says, the song John Schneider wrote, Charlie's Words, was awesome. He still has a great voice as an American patriotic man. Is that John Schneider, the same one who was Bo Luke from the Dukes of Hazzard? Uman's doing this. He's also the very conservative, yes, patriotic man. And we have in this country revival, folks. And I don't mean strictly a Christian revival, but rather a national revival that can include elements of Americanism, that include religion, like Christianity. Right? A belief, at the very least, that there's a higher power and authority that runs everything. That government is not the highest authority. In fact, government is low. It goes God, man, Constitution, then government. Government at the highest is number 4. In any event, Charlie Kirk's death is continuing to have serious, and I mean serious, effects on youth. And what is disgusting to me, though, now John Schneider, writing music, I think is wonderful. But other people are trying to run over and pick up Charlie Kirk's mantle, his coat, and put on his shoes, right, and walk his shoes and take over his show. To me, it's become obnoxious. Everyone wants to be the next Charlie Kirk. Don't, right? Everyone, a lot of people are like, I'm Charlie Kirk. Well, okay, in a lot of ways, we're all Charlie Kirk. We're just Americans. We're just people. We're humans. You don't even have to be an American, right? But to say I'm Charlie Kirk and now I'm going to do exactly what Charlie Kirk did, I think I made it clear that I couldn't be, even if I wanted, Charlie Kirk. I don't have the patience for it. I don't believe people can be changed. And I'm not going to go through and filter 100 people to try and find one that can be changed. Not my job. My job is to talk to people about what the hell is going on and tell them you need to get ready and understand that if the lights go out, if the fuel stops, if they don't bring in food, if they turn off the water, whatever happens, you have to rely on you and you alone, and those around you who are prepared. So yourself, your family, hopefully your neighbors and other close family, right? You're going to have to rely on yourself. That's my job. My job is not to be Charlie Kirk. But he did an amazing thing, and I guess I can see why a lot of people want to be that. But to me, it almost seems like they're fighting over the table scraps. A lot of people are criticizing Charlie Kirk's wife. There's a lot of oddities out there, folks. And what that tells me is never mind what they're doing. What it tells me about patriotism and Dan the Man's comment here is there's a recognition amongst these people who want to be Charlie Kirk. There's a recognition that he was doing great work, that he was waking a lot of people up, that he was converting a lot of people. And I think more than anything else, and I want to say this again, Charlie Kirk would take 1 out of 100 of these liberals and convert them. Great. Did he have to convert all of these college kids that were already Republicans? All these college kids that were already conservatives? No, he didn't. But what he taught them to do is to be brave. What he taught them to do is think about what you believe and articulate it intelligently. Don't be afraid of these leftists. Stand up for yourself. Speak up. Speak your mind. Do not be afraid, and explain yourself to the best of your ability. Right? If you want to talk about something, get more information. Read it, learn about it, digest it, and then you can talk about it more intelligently. Charlie Kirk, that's where I think Charlie Kirk's greatest strength was, is he didn't convince all these stupid fucking Democrats to leave that behind, even though a few did convert back over. Great. What he did is he showed all of these college kids, you're not a minority. You're not weak. You're not a fucking victim. Stand up for yourself. Speak intelligently. Talk about issues. Be a man, for fuck's sake. Right? Stop being cowards and cowering in front of Antifa and BLM and these Muslim idiots and these Palestine fruitcakes. Don't kowtow to people who think they own you or they're superior to you because they were promised 3,000 years ago the grass that you're standing on, so you have to get off of it and out of their way, right? Whatever the other person is, you don't have to give in. Don't be weak. Don't be afraid. Be intelligent. That's what I think Charlie Kirk really did. He wasn't afraid to talk. He wasn't afraid to be himself. And he was able to talk in such a way and stay in front of an audience and engage with them so that people could see that courage. I don't know if enough people give Charlie credit for being courageous as well as an intelligent speaker. In any event, Dan, let's roll with that. That's my thoughts on that one. Really appreciate that. Mr. Uman, where shall we go next? And John Schneider, I liked watching him as Bo Duke when I was a kid growing up, and the Dukes of Hazzard. Hey, it's Cottage Farm. How you doing there? She writes, the government throws up distractions. The crazy people just comply. Well, I think I know where I want to go with this. California is a sinking pile of stinking fetid shit with respect to its politics and its governing bodies. And in order to distract from how they're absolutely destroying quite possibly one of the most beautiful territories, states, or geographic areas on the planet, they don't want anyone, right, to see how badly they're destroying that. From the sea to the mountains, to the lakes, to the deserts, to the valleys, to the rivers, to the redwoods, volcanoes. Just there's so much in California, but they're destroying it. The huge forests. Not only do they have great sequoias, they got the giant redwoods. In any event, folks, they don't want them to see that. So Gavin Newsom lies about Trump. He also has political aspirations to be president, which is quite comical and disgusting and scary were he to attain that. But Gavin Newsom is calling President Trump's, I think, Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller, calling him a fascist. He's distracting from all the stupid shit he's doing in California, including letting in illegals, harboring, giving aid and comfort to an invading force, illegal aliens. Instead, he's calling Stephen Miller a fascist. That's the dog whistle. That's the accusation. That is the type of person that needs to be assassinated, according to Democrats. Fascists. It's funny. The fascist Nazis only killed 10 million people total, while communists have killed over 100 million. 10 million versus 100 million. 10 million versus 100 million. But being a fascist is worse. Literally, being a fascist is worse. So the crazy people, these left-wing putzes, these left-wing schmoes, right? That's what they are. They're complying with that. That's how the left wing is operating now. They destroy everything. They take bribes. They take money. They take handouts. They do everything they can to enrich themselves while they destroy everything around them. If anyone confronts them, they attack them. They use ad hominem names, destructive names. They threaten them, and then they send the crazy people after them. Understand, folks, this game we're playing now is not new, by the way. It's been played and perfected. What I mean by that is in the early 1800s, a communist named Karl Marx put communism down on paper. He didn't invent it. He just put down the Communist Manifesto, the planks or the things you need to do in order to become communist. He had a very weak political philosophy that tried to degrade everything else and elevate communism, which is a fucking horrible, awful, terrible political system and economic system, a godless piece of shit system. But he came out with it. No one just adopted it and said, let's be communists. What a great idea. No, but they introduced it and they started passing it around. It moved from country to country. And it found root in a lot of countries, folks. And I'll name one you probably know, England. But England did not become communist in the 1800s, though they tried heavily through the late 1800s. It would not take root and did not succeed. But it did, however, take root and succeed in communist Russia. The early Bolsheviks, 9 out of 10 of them, were people who had the same ethno-religious belief system as Karl Marx. And the Bolsheviks rose up and did the same thing. They went through colleges, they went through schools, they found people who had no real life ahead of them, no real skills, not very smart, and they used them. That's where their foot soldiers, their foot pads. Like the communists used uneducated dimwits as their muscle, just like Antifa, the crazy people. These people go to college, though they're not intelligent. You can ask them, they'll tell you how intelligent they are, but they're not. They've got no future, they've got no skills, they don't have good jobs because they don't want it. They want communism so they can go steal everyone else's stuff and live in their houses and take their cars. They're crazy people. They're doing the same thing again. But now, instead of taking 60, 80 years, they've developed the system and they understand it. They know how to create communist movement. And so they're doing it. And that's what we've got now. They have perfected the system of supplying food and necessities through welfare state. Whoops, another communist plank that it enables states like California, Illinois, or New York, Oregon. Oregon's bad, to create and support and keep these people alive with freebies and handouts and bullshit jobs while they build a bigger and bigger communist base to the point where you have cities like Portland that are just overrun with these communist fucks. And folks, guess what? The Muslims are doing the same thing. They come over. They've gotten all the welfare they can while they amass as much wealth as they can. And now they're buying property. They're coming together. They're building communities. They're now coming out and openly threatening people, saying they're going to overthrow our country, overthrow our states, overthrow our cities. They're going to come into our own homes as individuals. They're going to make us convert or kill us. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? But that's who they are. And they're out there right now. They're out there. All right. Thank you, Cottage Farm. Please be safe where you're at. Mr. Uman, who do we want to put up next on the board? And it's Never Obey with a $5 super chat donation. Thank you, sir. Pow. He says, what do you think about Mayor Adams dropping out of the mayoral race? This is New York City, by the way. And that goat effer being made goat fucker is what he's saying. Goat effer being mayor of New York City. Sharia law coming soon. Well, we got a couple issues here. Mayor Adams is the current mayor of New York City, and he's decided he's not going to run against the goat fucker Mandami, who is a Muslim, who he was not born in America. He does not love this country. I believe, and it's been conjectured and widely speculated and even accused, that he lied on his papers, that he has called for global intifada, which is a global holy war against all infidels, meaning non-Muslims must die. He should be denaturalized and deported right fucking now. But he's not. He's still running for mayor. Apparently, though, there's another mayoral candidate out there. He wears a red beret. He is not one of these foreign-born fucks. But what do I think about Mayor Adams dropping out? I think he's had a change of heart. I think he has. I think that he was elected mayor. He had all kinds of liberal communist ideas. And I think that he saw the damage that he's doing because people would come to his town hall meetings and they would share their stories with Mayor Adams. They'd yell at him. They'd cuss at him. They'd call him names, folks. Trust me, there was not a lot of love for him. But they would tell him what was happening to them, how they were being hurt by crime, how they couldn't live, didn't feel safe. They didn't have the money to move, couldn't move. The property values are being ruined, that their streets are being ruined. The city's a fucking mess, right? And I really think, and this is something I didn't think I'd ever admit, I actually think Mayor Adams has a heart. That's what I think. I think he had a heart and he started seeing things. He actually started agreeing with some of what Trump is saying and deciding that, no, we don't need to defund the police. I think he started to see the light on a few things and moderate himself. Now, that said, I wouldn't trust him to organize my pantry of soups. No, I wouldn't. Right? But I do believe, the guy actually had a heart. I think he's disgusted with what's going on. I think he's dropping out. I think he's seeing all the dirty money in it, all of the everything. Now, if he says too much, he could be silenced. So I think he's just going to go away. I believe we've also got another Cuomo who's in the race. I think there's another Cuomo in the race. I don't know if New York City could stomach an actual Republican running for office. But they did have Rudy Giuliani, who ran on a let's fix the crime in New York City. Rudy Giuliani being a federal officer agent that brought down the John Gotti crime syndicate. Anyways, to your next comment, Sharia law coming soon. Sharia law is the Muslim law, which has nothing to do with law. It has to do with a backwards ass rules system that was invented or created or started by a completely radical pedophile warlord. It has nothing to do with law. It has everything to do with an intolerant, illogical belief system. That's it. It's not a religion. It's an illogical set of crap. It's just crap. Go read the Quran yourself. Anyways, Sharia law coming in New York City. If they try that, all the person has to do is say, "You're accusing me of a crime." Right? I have the Constitution. Right? You're gonna have to try me by the rules of evidence and the crime, and is it a lawful? Everything. But Sharia law will say, we don't care about that. We're gonna try you by the Quran. Well, that's not in the Constitution. In other words, it's completely 100% unconstitutional to allow that type of law to operate, that type of accountability system. It has nothing to do with the Constitution. It has nothing to do with law. In fact, it violates the law as well. It violates the First Amendment. It violates the Fourth and Fifth Amendments. It violates the Sixth Amendment, the Seventh, the 10th, the 14th, for fuck's sake. In any event, Never Obey, thank you for your great support of the channel. Your super chat donations, and there's a super chat button up there. That's how you can get your questions, your comments, your thoughts right here. We're up to 325 people live at this moment, folks. Everything you talk about, everything you write in the comments is going to help other people learn. It's going to help other people wake up. It's going to help other people prepare. So whether or not you're on the screen, you're helping make a difference. But if you get on the screen, by the time this video is done, in a couple of days, it's going to continue to circulate on X, on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, Facebook. It's going to circulate everywhere, social media. Thousands of people will have seen, watched, heard, and read what you're saying. So what do you want to talk about? Oh, man, who's next? Right on the Prepared Mind channel here. And we got Boomer with a $20 super chat donation. And he says, things might be heating up in Portland this week. Why can't they bring back the water cannons? Well, things are heating up in Portland, folks. Portland, Oregon. ICE is there. I really wish they would send the Marines or the Army. Send in infantry. Send in the National Guard to help clean up this city. Portland is the stronghold of Antifa. What's fascinating is all of the politicians from the state all the way down to the local level are saying, we don't have any problems. Yet Trump says Antifa has destroyed Portland. The businesses are ruined. People don't feel safe. At night, you're fucked. If you are not one of them and they catch you, they can pull you out of your car, and they've killed people, folks. They're fucking murderous, little, spineless, transgender, homosexual fruitcakes and leftist communists and racists who hate themselves and hate this country. That's who they are, folks. It's funny, they don't go after Muslims. I find that amusing, actually. As if Muslims are going to like them or they would like Muslims, because they're not on the same side. The only side they are on is the side opposite of freedom, liberty, the Constitution, and the American flag. In any event, things are heating up in Portland, and they're going to get hotter. With respect to why can't they bring back water cannons, I think they should. More importantly than water cannons, I think they ought to be shooting them, these protesters who won't disperse when ordered, given a lawful order to disperse, because a riotous situation is developed. They ought to start shooting them with colored paintballs that the dye does not wash off. Right? They have paintballs out there that intentionally dye the skin and clothing so that police can catch them by identifying them later. Right? So for days and days, that ink's not coming off. You come outside, you get arrested. I think they ought to do that as well. I like the water cannons. It's non-lethal. I like the paintballs with this paint. It's non-lethal. I hate to see flashbang grenades, tear gas grenades, and canisters shot because people can get hurt and damaged. But these people, these scumbags in Portland, they're violent. They are communists, which means they are sworn to destroy this country. They're fucking animals. They just are. It's an awful situation. They need to be arrested. They need to be, by the way, Antifa is and has been designated as an international terrorist organization. They are international, folks, and they have been around for practically 100 years. And what I mean by that is when the Nazis took power, became the governing party in the Weimar Republic, Germany, the communists in Russia, the Bolsheviks, did not like that. So what did they do? They sent their agents, young, idiotic, moronic, violent communists, into Germany to, try and recruit more people. Try and recruit more, Germans that were anti-Nazi, against the Nazis, or didn't care for the Nazis, or were, by their very virtue and nature, communist. And yes, there is a religious or, shall we say, ethnic component to this. So they went in there, right? They've been around a long time. They have always been terrorists. Antifa have always been terrorists. Right? So when Hitler and the Germans and the Third Reich decided it was time to get rid of Antifa, to get rid of ethnic groups that by and large, one, were not German, and two, didn't share German belief systems about law, order, behavior, good conduct, etc. They wanted them all out. and they were told, get the fuck out of the country. We're going to have to do something similar with these radicals in our country, whether it's a religious or ideological bent that is anti-American and will not assimilate and will not obey the law, will not be decent and moral. What do you do with them? I guess we're going to find out, folks. The harder they push, the harder the other side. And pretty soon everyone's pushing back. Right? More pressure being pushed by both sides. When something finally moves, a lot of shit is going to break. It's going to be wild, folks. Going to be wild. Boomer, thank you for your continuing great support. I pray you stay safe, that you stay prepared. And thank you again for letting us know how everything went over there in England when you took a trip across the pond to check out their situation they have. All right. Mr. Uman, who wants to step in the ring next? We got Lauren, who says Trans Tifa is so posed to take on ICE at 4 o'clock. Should be fun. Yeah, I tell you what. Yeah, Antifa is going to try and attack. Now, I think it was in Chicago. ICE has ongoing operations. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement has a lot going on in Chicago as well. They made a lot of arrests, and hey, they found on these people that were arrested guns, weapons. That's to be expected and we understood, right? But don't go into this thinking that Antifa is only showing up, waving flags, and carrying sticks. They also have now guns. And it would not surprise me at some point, whether it is Chicago where the gangs there were threatening guns and then disappeared. But Portland, I really think that these people, especially the ones that are part of the John Brown Gun Club, which is is that John Brown? Is that correct? Yeah, John Brown Gun Club, a bunch of leftist wieners. At some point, I'm expecting them to start shooting law enforcement when they feel that threatened. And what's amazing, again, is the local politicians all the way up to the governor support and stand by these leftist terrorists. Once again, they are terrorists, folks. They're terrorists now, a terrorist organization. They have been terrorists, but they've finally gotten that designation. And there is a push now also to proclaim, pronounce, codify, if you will. That is to mean put into law that the Muslim Brotherhood is an international terror organization. And anyone affiliated with them who is not an American citizen needs to be kicked the fuck out of the country. Anyone who is a naturalized American citizen and is affiliated with the Muslim Brotherhood needs to be denaturalized and deported. And anyone who is an American citizen that affiliates in any way with them is to be watched as a suspect. And the moment they break the law, then they should have the book thrown at them as a terror supporter, whether they give money, weapons, information, etc. To give aid and comfort to the enemy, a terror organization, is to make one a criminal. I really believe that the mayors, the city and county governments, as well as the governors of Oregon and Washington and any other state, the moment they give aid and comfort to a terrorist or terror organization like Antifa or the Muslim Brotherhood, they need to be arrested for aiding and abetting a terrorist group. Period. That's the law. If I give money or guns to Crips or Bloods or the Mafia or the KKK or white supremacists, I would go to jail instantly. And they'd just throw the fucking key away, folks, which is why I'm not. Anyways, Lauren, thank you very, very much, folks. It's your show. It's Sunday Night Live. We're 1 hour in. We're going to go 2 hours, unless, of course, I fall out of my chair. But I don't think that's going to happen. Not today. But there's a super chat button right up there. If you've got something to say, we'll get you on the screen. I will make you famous. This is your chance, folks. A lot of people, they want a chance. They want an opportunity. They have something to say. Something that other people should hear that they think is going to make a difference. And that's really what this show is. It's been about for, well, since we started it years ago, is it just seems like we make a difference. People say thank you quite often. I love it. Oh, man. There's another shooting that occurred today or this weekend. And I didn't see it make the kind of news that the other shootings did. But at the Richmond Road Baptist Church in Lexington, Kentucky. Has anyone heard about this? Man, you hear about this shooting? I caught it on X. The suspect, the shooter's dead. One officer is shot and injured. 2 women were killed at the Richmond Road Baptist Church in Lexington, Kentucky. So one officer shot, 2 women killed, 2 others are injured. One of them is in critical condition. Well, since 2 people died, that makes this guy a mass murderer, huh? The guy has been identified. His name is Guy House. First name Guy, G-U-Y. Last name House. And turns out he's a pro-Palestinian radical Islamic person. I haven't done a whole lot of research on this one because I was doing some research on the other ones. But this one didn't fit the media or mainstream media bill. Right? As we know, the other 2 shooters from the weekend were both white Marines. Or, yes, former Marines, whatever. They were Marines. They're white. Of course, they're hiding all of their social media they can. They're hiding all that. But they want to make sure the world sees white, Marine, veteran, bad, killer. Even though I know exactly, I have no doubts what their belief systems were. This guy, this Guy House, who is a Islamic Palestinian radical supporter, right? He's pretty fucking nasty too, having shot a policeman, killed 2 women, and injured 2 others. Are you prepared for what's coming? Literally. Now, if you guys have an opinion about how to deal with these guys, how are you going to deal with Antifa if you run into them? I want to know. Super chat button right up there. Tell me how you're going to handle it. Tell me what you're going to do. For example, I'm driving down the road here in Florida, and I know I'm coming up to a college. Lots of colleges here in Florida, by the way. I don't think we need this many colleges, especially since it seems about anywhere from half to 80% of all colleges are non-U.S. students. But if I'm driving down the road and I'm approaching a college city, a college town, a college area, and all of a sudden I see a bunch of people in the street, what am I going to do? I don't know. I could do a number of things. I could stop, pull over, turn around, go the other way. I could drive up to it, honk my horn at them, scream and yell. If they threaten me, I have a right to defend myself and not become a victim. I can run them over. What do I do? What will you do? Now, I don't really plan on going to one of these things and looking for trouble. That's stupid, because then I've got to fucking answer to an inquiry from the police. What happened? Why did you do it? Why didn't you do this? Did you, blah, 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 right? Don't want to take that time. But what if I'm surprised? What if I pull up to a stoplight and all of a sudden a gaggle of these fuckheads come down the sidewalk wearing their red, waving their flags, and they want to stop traffic right there and then start harassing people in their vehicles? Right? How are you going to handle the situation? I know what I am going to do because I know what I must do. I'm not going to allow myself to become victimized. Are you? I'm not going to allow my city, my state, my country to be taken over by these radicals. Are you? At what point do we stand up for law and order, morality and decency, our country? At what point do we do that? Instead of saying, I'll let someone else handle that. At what point are you going to take action? Now, I tell people all the time, they're like, when is that? I've had enough of this shit, John. When's it going to happen? And I'm like, hey, you'll know when it's time. You'll know. You'll know. I won't have to tell you. No one will have to tell you. You'll just know it is now time for you to take action. And for everybody, it's going to be a little different. Some people are going to be out looking for trouble because the purge is coming. Other people are going to see that there's a couple of incidents happening, and they're going to do their best to avoid it. Other people are going to go kind of looking for it. Other people are going to be like, I don't want anything to do with this until it's in their face and it is unavoidable. And then they're going to have to go, I know it's now time, right? So different people at different levels are going to realize it's time, and it happens. Right now, the level we're at as a nation, this is what it is. Whether you're in a shopping mall, a gas station, or a church, these left-wing lunatics, whether they are transgenders, whether they're violent communists, whether they're violent Islamists, jihadis, right, or violent BLM, it's coming, right? Someone is going to do it. Right now, we're seeing them show up trying to kill people, and other people have guns. Honest, decent, hardworking, tax-paying Americans are bringing guns to churches, to shopping malls, to gas stations. And if someone gets out of line, they fucking shoot them. Does everyone remember this big giant, a giant of a man? He walks into the convenience store. He goes back and he grabs, like, I think a 6-pack or a 12-pack of beer, and he holds it like it's a small milk carton. It's a big giant black dude, right? And this other fucking guy comes in and tries robbing the store, and he just shoots him. Bam! He just solves the problem, right? That's where people are at. They go to the church, right? And they try opening fire, and people stand up, right? Put the Bible down, pick the gun up. That's the level we're at now. And people are now carrying guns everywhere, and they're ready to respond to trannies, Antifa, BLM, or Muslims. Whoever wants to pull a gun out and start killing innocent people, they get whacked. And it's starting to happen more often than not, more often than ever. Now, these churchgoers, right, they're not there to kill people in church. People that go shopping are there to shop, not kill people. People at gas stations and convenience stores are there to fill up on some gas and grab some beer or some fucking potato chips or a soda. They're not there to shoot people, but they're now having to because there's so much of it. So when people say, when's it going to happen, John? I need to be ready. Get ready now. Because when it's right in your face, you can't avoid it. That's the time. But as far as the entire nation having a it's time to clean house moment, Democrats are calling for it. And I'm not talking about your neighbors. I'm talking about mayors and legislators at the state and the federal level. People like Dollar Store Obama Hakeem Jeffries. People like Chuck Schumer. People like Nancy Pelosi. All of these Democrats are encouraging it. Even Joe Biden. Even Kamala Harris. Even Tampon Timmy Walsh. Oh, mainstream media too. The girls on The View. You think they would like you to be free? Or would they like you to be, well, Donald Trump, if you know what I mean? Understand, folks. Understand. All right, Mr. Ooh Man. Let's get into it. Let's have some more fun. Who's up next on the Prepared Mind channel? We've got Redneck Roughneck, and he says Lyndon Johnson, who was a Democrat. Lyndon Baines Johnson, a.k.a. LBJ. He was a Texas politician. He became vice president, and then when JFK got shot in the head, he became president. So LBJ deployed 8,000 Michigan National Guardsmen with orders to shoot anyone seen looting. Orders to shoot to kill if someone's seen looting. What is looting? Well, we've got a chaotic system, a chaotic situation, a riot, some mayhem, people breaking into a store, stealing items in the chaos. That's called looting. And it used to be a crime that was so bad that you could be shot instantly for it. No arrest, no trial, no jury. Do not pass go. Don't collect $200. You're fucking dead. A Democrat, LBJ, deployed 8,000 military people to shoot anyone stealing in a riot situation. 11 people were killed. I guess it's okay for a Democrat president to do it. But Trump, he can't even fire a fucking bureaucrat. He can't even send an illegal out of the country. He can't even send people to jail for breaking the law. He cannot even catch somebody, James Comey, and have evidence and have them arrested. James Comey's going to turn himself in, but not till October 9th. Why is he granted that type of benefit, privilege? Fucking crazy. Anyways, yeah, LBJ, just a fucking awful human being and an awful president. Democrats are so nice and kind. No, sorry. Facts, right? Facts. Okay, thanks, Redneck Roughneck. Hey, Mr. Uman, what do we got going on? Who's next on The Price is Right? I mean, who's next on Sunday Night Live? It's the Zoo, and you guys are all here from all over, and it's Cottage Farm. Uh-oh. Rut row. Let's start with the shot. Any super chat donation of $50 or more buys me a wonderful scotch. And this week, I have an 18-year single malt whiskey, a.k.a. scotch, from Glenfiddich. Thank you, Cottage Farm, for your great and continuing support. It's not easy putting my sobriety to task every week. Anyways, Cottage Farm writes, I'm about to buy a couple 20-foot shipping containers for secured storage. What's your thoughts? They are a terrific secured storage. They're terrific. I know lots of people that have bought them. They bought them and half buried them, camouflaged them, disguised them, stacked them on top of each other. People use them for housing, but secure storage. There's one way in and one way out, unless you modify them, and that's the end. And they have very large bars. The only way to get into a storage container, if you cannot break the lock off, is to take either a cutting torch or a cut-off wheel and cut a hole in the side and cut your way in. Now, everyone probably understands, well, maybe leftists don't, but a cutting torch throws a lot of heat, flames, and molten steel. So you'll probably set everything inside on fire if you use a cutting torch, not to mention you fill the entire container with smoke. So if you try walking inside after you cut a hole, you might asphyxiate yourself. Now, you can use, I guess you can use a drill and a sawzall and cut a hole. It takes a long time. The same with using a cutoff wheel, which also, by the way, throws a lot of sparks, can catch stuff on fire. But they're very difficult to get a hold of. To get into. And if you get a good lock that's designed for use with the shipping container, it's damn near impossible to get into them. Plus, you can add additional locking mechanisms to them. But again, I like concealing them or camouflaging them, because a lot of people believe, hey, they got a shipping container. Must be something worth protecting. Well, fuck, that's everything. You lock your car even though there's nothing in it except a pair of sunglasses and an old Jimmy Buffett cassette tape in your tape deck, right? No, but people will still, I'm going to break into that car. Must be something in there because they locked it. I'm going to break into that shipping container there at Cottage Farm. So yeah, make sure you get a good locking system. But one of the things I'm going to tell you, my thoughts, they're wonderful. They are weather tight, rain. They're great rain protection. I mean, a lot of them are old and paint's off and they're rusty, but they got years and years and years and years of being used. A friend of mine in California has two of them 3/4 buried in a hill so that just the front of them sticks out. And they've held up to all that weight and dirt. But, always try and understand your engineering and don't do something that could cause an accident. In any event, my thoughts, Uman says, get the 40-footers. I say get whatever size works for you. 40 is a big boy. right? The 20s are nice. Anyways, Mighty Mouse girlfriend, best to get the, quote, one-trip containers. I don't know what the hell that means, but I like shipping containers for what they do. They're relatively inexpensive, but the 40-footer is much harder to push around property than a 20-footer. If you've got a tractor or a forklift to move them, of course, bigger is harder, et cetera, trickier, but they're great, folks. They're absolutely fantastic. I thought about having some shipping containers brought to the RMZ, but it just wasn't as cute as putting up a yurt. In any event, shipping containers, people make them into houses. There's nothing cheap about anything anymore. It used to be that they were cheap. Now they're anywhere from $4,000 to $10,000 a piece. In any event, they're great. I hope keeping things safe is good. I hope everything is safe. Now, with respect to safety, I've got another friend up in Oregon, not near Portland or Salem, over, and they recently been robbed. And the people, whoever these criminals are, they were clever, and they understood what they were doing, and they got away with quite a bit of valuable objects. It's terrible what these people do, these thieves, right? They probably understand that you work for what you've got, but they don't give a fuck. They're willing to steal everything from you. If you've ever had anyone rob or steal anything from you of value, you'll then, as soon as that happens, you understand what it feels like to be a victim. A victim. So don't let people steal from you. Right? Make it incredibly difficult. One of the most, I think, intelligent things you can do is get a security surveillance system. They're now incredibly cheap, and you can either let everyone know I've got this, or keep it very private. But I do recommend being public about it at the end of your driveway or the edge of your lawn. If you're rural or in a city, put up little signs to say this property is under video surveillance. Very easy, very quick. Property is protected by security surveillance. Now they have to worry about getting caught. Either their vehicle, their faces, someone says a name, right? They can be caught. Even if they're wearing a mask, their build, their clothing, with the direction they go in, can be compared to other people walking by and paying too much attention to the house on other days. In other words, you're your own best protection. Your own best protection. So get signs, right? Even the break-in signs like ADT, the alarm security companies, get those signs. Even if you don't have ADT or Brinks Security or whoever the fuck you think is scary sounding, right? I like this property protected by Smith & Wesson sign myself. But you put those signs in the yard, people think you've got a security system. Look, if you're an easy target, they'll take you. If you're a weak target, they'll take you. If you're a hard target, difficult target, a scary target, they'll avoid you. Just like Antifa. They will not go after big, strong, capable men. They go after solo men. Weak men, old people, kids. They'll outnumber someone 3 or 4 to 1 before they start their shit. It's because they're weak and cowards. Same goes for thieves, folks. They don't want a hard target because they don't want to get shot. They don't want to get caught. So they'll go find someone else. Having a security system, great. Having shipping containers, those are hard to get into. They just are. It makes a lot of noise to get into them. right? Whether you're using a torch, a sawzall, or a cutting wheel, it makes a lot of noise. Someone's going to hear about it, know about it, and it's going to be their ass. So they go somewhere else. Mr. Uman, let's have some more fun out there. Who's got something to say? Folks, it's your show. Sunday Night Live, super chat button right up here. Uman, who do we want to put up on the board next? And we've got Rock Valley Reddy, who participates quite often. And he writes, the guy in Michigan was the trifecta. He used a vehicle, a gun, and fire. Okay, so, yeah, he used his vehicle to crash into the building, the church. He used a gun to kill people, and then he burned everything. He was a serious cat in a lot of ways. Serious guy, don't you think? He didn't kill his men. You know, there's something happened a long time ago called the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Has anyone really heard about that? I mean, it sounds awful, right? St. Valentine's Day Massacre. When I was a kid, that was like the big massacre that everyone remembered and talked about, and, right? You okay there, Uman? Anyways, St. Valentine's Day Massacre. I think 3 people died. Is it 2 or 3? It wasn't very many. But it sounds really bad. These people are killing anywhere from 1 to 2, 5 people, injuring 8, 10, 20. I mean, these are awful, awful crimes. But yeah, what kind of gets me is the guy in Michigan. I don't know if he's dead or not. I don't think I ever read whether he was or not. In any event, yeah, he decided to use everything he had as a weapon. But I thought these crazy right-wing gun nuts have 5, 6 guns, 10 guns. Aren't they supposed to have hand grenades also? How come they only killed just a few people? I mean, I thought these right-wing lunatics built bulldozers to use as tanks. This guy just used his truck. Well, turns out, folks, having a single vehicle, just one gun, and a couple gallons of gas and a match is enough to really fuck things up. I think Antifa and these scumbag left-wingers have figured that out. It doesn't take a lot of money to cause a lot of mayhem. By the way, we're over 350 people live right here. That is awesome. Be sure and thumbs up this video. It doesn't cost you nothing. Please thumbs up. What that does for me and for the channel is it gets us better, shall we say, algorithm results. It makes YouTube, right, promote us more, which is promoting fact and opinion of us patriot types, which we went out there. And by the way, as I reported last week, YouTube has been told that they said they're going to put channels back that were taken off for talking about COVID, the Jim Jones juice, talking about the stolen 2020 election, right? And I sent them a message and said, hey, restore my fucking channel. Restore all 82,000 subscribers. No answer yet. It just said, the message center just says, we're reviewing your blah, 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 blah. We'll get back to you. And that's how they roll, folks. That's how we roll. Now the New York Times is claiming it is a pilot program. What is a pilot program? Oh, the restoration of fucked up channels. I guess that's what is a pilot program. Returning free speech is a pilot program. Is that what you're writing there, Mr. Uman? Yeah. A pilot program. We're going to test free speech. Turns out everything I said was correct. We now have all the evidence we need to have that the election was stolen. We have all the evidence we need to have that COVID was bullshit and that the Jim Jones juice is fucking dangerous. But, here we are. Well, folks, we're 90 minutes into the show. Hit that super chat button. We'll get you on the screen and talk about what you want to talk about. It's your show, and that's how this channel keeps the lights on and keeps us going, bringing the prepper good news out there. So, Uman, who's up next? We got a super chat, and it is Boomer back with his number 2. El Due Boomer says $20 super chat. The United Kingdom, which is Britain, and eventually Canada and Australia will be imposing digital identification, digital ID. Future drawbacks: no driver's license, passport, healthcare, or banking without it. Just to name a few, just to name parts of your life that will require you to have digital ID. I don't like any of this shit. I don't even like fucking driver's licenses and passports. But yeah, we've got a system now where you can't be trusted to say who you are. Like 150 years ago, if I were to get on a steamer, steam across the water over to France, I'd get off the boat, I would go to customs, and they would say, "Who are you?" I'd say, "My name's John Smith." They'd say, "Well, where are you from?" I would say, "Florida, United States of America." And they'd say, "Oh, okay, well, welcome, yada, yada, yada," right? And then they came up with this passport thing: prove who you are, and then prove that you're allowed to drive. There was never, before driver's licenses, do you think there was state identification, folks? No. But they're connecting everything, are they not? Driver's license, social security number. Yep, that's all tied to your paycheck and your taxes, which is, by the way, illegal. Social security number is never supposed to be used for identification purposes or tracking in any way. But fuck me. And now it's all tied to your banking. Your social security number is tied to your banking, healthcare, loans, everything that is life. Yeah, it's the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia. What do those have in common with the United States of America? Oh, they're common law, or were common law jurisdictions. English common law. The United States is the other country, of course, New Zealand. But they're going to want to do that. But it conflicts with Charlie Kirk. His shirt said freedom on it. Everything about these people and what they want to do conflicts with freedom and liberty. Oh, John, there's nothing in the Constitution that says that the government can't make you get an identification. There's nothing in the Constitution that says the government's authorized to make me get identification. Make me prove who I am. There's nothing in the Constitution that says that banks can deny me anything because the government bought me. So it's a big fight. It's a big argument. It's coming. This fight needs to happen. In the United States of America, there is now being put together as we speak, and I don't know how far it will go or how successful it will be, but the fight is to prove and demonstrate that all governments in this country have no right to tax your real property, your real estate, your home. There is no authority by which a state can take out a loan, or a city can take out a loan, or a county can take out a loan, use you and your property as collateral, and make you pay for what they want to do. That is, folks, that is unconstitutional. I agree with that. It's unconstitutional. Now, everyone goes, wow, this thing called eminent domain, John, eminent. No, that's the taking of your property for public good, no less. They're not taking your property. They're taking a fucking loan out against it and then saying you're responsible for paying it back. And if you refuse, well, hell, they'll just take your fucking property, kick you the fuck out, sell it, and if you're lucky, you might get some of the money back if there's any left over, right? So all of the things government does, all of them are suspect. And the claim that the government is sovereign is completely fallacious and ridiculous. Once again, Constitution. Constitution. The rules are right there. Government doesn't give a fuck. But the Constitution was written, and in particular, the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments, designed to stop government from doing just these sorts of things. Bill Uman brings up a great point. Identification is racist. Racist. Yeah. How can oppressed special interest groups get digital IDs if they can't figure out how to get regular ID now? That's a great question. Oppressed special interest illegal criminal groups. But just remember, man, just because you've committed a crime does not make you a criminal. Wow. Yeah. Well, people that are here illegally have no problem getting identification. If I want an ID, I've got to tell the government who I am with a birth certificate. And then I've got to prove that I live where I say I live by giving them a phone bill or a sewer bill or a water bill or an electric bill. It's like I can't. How can I move there if I don't have an ID, and I can't get an ID till I move there? But if you're an illegal, you'll come in, they give you an ID, credit card, a bunch of money, and then just go and give you a place to live for. It's fucking stupid. It is bizarro land. We are living in an idiocracy. And Steve Bishop says, digital ID is the gateway to marry up with the central bank digital currency and take us straight to Beastville, meaning the mark of the beast. Here's what I have to say about that. Oh, they're going to give us central bank digital currency, whether we like it or not. I'm not saying you have to use it. I'm not saying you have to take their mark. Nope. But they're gonna open an account in your name, whether you like it or not. It's going to be called, and they put this out years and years ago, and it confused and bewildered me back then. What I'm talking about is universal basic income, UBI. They want universal basic income. Universal meaning everybody has it. Basic income means a government gift to help you get by. Well, maybe you don't need it very much, but hey, if they give you $200 in food certificates, and they give you $100 in gasoline certificates, right? Are you going to not spend it? They want to give us UBI because, well, we got problems, folks. We have serious, and I'm not pulling your fucking chains, serious problems in our banking industry. We have serious problems in the bond market. We have serious problems on Wall Street. We have serious problems in commercial and residential real estate. We have serious infrastructure problems. On top of all the other problems we talk about, folks, these are the financial ones. How are we going to pay for it? Where's the money coming from? Who's going to pay it back? We've got serious problems. And then you throw on top of it, the entire world is shutting down and going to a nationalist system. We have trade disruptions because of tariffs, because of wars, because of obstinate government. Okay? And Trump has played his games as much as other countries have played their games. They're all fucking liars. They lie to each other. They lie to us. And I'm sure they lie to themselves. But everything is going to get fucked up. So if Uncle Sam, good old Uncle Sam, can come to you and hand you $300, $400, $500 to help you get by every month, especially if, well, say the husband goes to work, but wife has been laid off. Her job managing the store, laid off. They don't need a manager anymore because it's now all being handled by AI. Artificial intelligence is doing the scheduling. It's doing the hiring and firing. It's working as HR, right? So we're going to have jobs get lost. Well, we need to make that up to you. We're going to help you out. And they're going to tie that government universal basic income not to your bank account. It'll be a special account, separate account that's going to require you eventually, if not right away, eventually, they're going to need you to comply with their requirements to get that money, which everyone will accept, everyone's going to take, and everyone's going to take advantage of while they can. I remember when I got the COVID checks, $1,700. That's what I got. Oh, don't worry, folks. I paid it back, literally. Because Because at the end of the year, the government said, you know that $1,700 we gave you, John? We want it back. Meanwhile, I know people who are in their early 20s, no fucking job, no intelligence, no skills, who got $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month to stay unemployed. Unfucking believable. That's government, folks. That's government. They make the stupidest, strangest, dangerous decisions, but they know what they're doing. As long as it destroys the country. Do stuff with Nick. He says, oh yeah, digital everything, etc. JD Palantir Vance, the vice president, is going to help with that. Oh, there's a lot of information on Palantir and JD Vance. The fact that Peter Thiel has been his groomer, his handler, his financier, and he wants JD Vance to be president in 2028. Oh, he's a fine candidate. But I think we're going to find ourselves in deep shit over the next couple of years unless we, as a people, fix this fucking system and take back our rights that were stolen and take back the authority that has been assumed by government that it should not have. Thank you, Nikki. Ooh, man, I think we got some super chats out there. What do we want to do? And we do. We have Dan, the man Erickson, and he's back with his Dewey comment. And he says, what about the hundreds of FBI implants in the January 6th crowd? And that corruption obviously ran rampant during Biden. Now Trump is trying to fix it, but a real pile of poo for sure. Well, yeah, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, folks, had 274. That's a pretty specific number, don't you think? 274 FBI agents dressed in plain clothes were at that event. I'm sure they were all there, right? They were all there being good. They were just watching people. Well, you know what the reason is that they gave? The FBI's reason why 274 agents were at the Capitol on January 6th, well, it's bullshit. They claimed that they were to help with crowd control. They were claiming that they were there to protect the Capitol. But it's obvious who they were because they were not doing those things. They were trying to rile the crowd up like Ray Epps. They were there bashing in windows, staging fights, and literally threatening regular, normal, unmasked, patriotic Americans. Right? That's the BS that they pulled off. They were dressed as patriots. Some of them actually looked more like Antifa. They acted violently. They attacked nonviolent patriots for calling them out. They never identified themselves as FBI. They never wore badges. They used hand signals, code words, and they had specific clothing to identify themselves to each other and to the Metropolitan Communist DC Police. With experience. So, retired police, military, former military, you can look and see and tell by the way someone is dressed. You can tell if they are government operatives or not. Start with the shoes, how they're laced. I'm talking about boots. Look at their belts. Is their shirt tucked in? And then one of the big tells, of course, is the tone of voice they have, the words that they use. They're not the language they speak is not typical. And it certainly doesn't sound like a bunch of college idiots. And then their eyes. Their eyes are completely 100% aware of what's going on because they're trained. You look at the eyes of an Antifa protester, they're wild-eyed fucking morons. Look at the way they dress. Their fucking boots look like shit. They're dressed like shit. They're slobs. You see, that's why I really suspect these Patriot Front guys, if they are not feds, they're run by feds, they're handled by feds, and they're told how to dress by the feds. They look like fucking stinking feds. In any event, I don't have a problem with federal officers or state officers or local officers, folks. I have a problem with people in those positions of power committing crimes, framing Americans, violating their oaths, the law, and the Constitution, violating all terms and conditions of decency and morality. That's my problem with these fucking people. That's my problem with anybody in government with authority when they abuse it. Anyways, thank you, Big Dan, for the great support. You are the man. Ooh, man. We've got 15 minutes left on the show, but I tell you what, as long as we got super chat donations coming in and on the board, I'll stay here with you guys and our good friend Steve Bishop with a big ass $25 super chat donation. Says, John, you are right on target about UBI, Universal Basic Income, and artificial intelligence causing severe unemployment to push everyone into it. Oh, you bet. You bet. Thank you, Steve. I really appreciate the backup on that. But you bet. Artificial intelligence, robots or robotics have been taking jobs for a long time. I went with a friend this weekend to Sam's Club to get stocked up. And I'm standing in the fucking aisle going over a list of shit. And I turn around and there's a street sweeper. No, a floor sweeper coming. And, they got the walk behind kind and they got the ride on kind. Well, this is the ride on kind, and it's got it looks like a miniature street sweeper. And it's got little brushes and it squirts some water out there and it cleans the floor and it vacuum sucks as it goes. And these are great, right? A lot easier than a bucket and a mop. Well, I look at this fucking thing and I go, hey, look, no one's driving it, but it's got a steering wheel and a seat. It's outfitted with cameras. And I'm just standing there. I'm like, you know what? Try me, motherfucker. It came down the aisle, saw me, stopped about 10 foot short, very carefully, slowly went up and around me. That's someone's job. In order to pay someone to do that job, they're going to cost, in the state of Florida, somewhere around $50,000 a year. You got wages, insurance, employment taxes, Social Security taxes, all that shit. And if it's a good company, they also have, retirement benefits, medical benefits, all that. They don't have to pay that. They just have to put a couple of cameras, a couple of servos, some remote control, a computer board, some Wi-Fi equipment, and you no longer need that fucking employee ever again. Amazon, Walmart, Piggly Wiggly, Publix, Safeway, Albertsons, Kroger's, CVS, all these stores can now have robots taking human jobs, putting materials on shelves, boxes, putting in trucks. I was talking to a friend the other day about his trip to California. He said, holy cow, John, everywhere I went there was Waymo. I said, sounds like there was way more of that than anything else. I said, what the fuck is Waymo? He was in LA. He goes, well, Waymo is driverless taxis. So driverless taxis. I said, I know that they've got this driverless shit out there. They tried it and they're doing it and this and that, but they actually have a taxi where you call a Waymo and it shows up, you get in and it takes you where you're going and you get out. How does it know you got in the car? How the fuck does it know you got out of the car? Waymo, huh? There's a taxi driver. That company, to run 3 shifts of 8 hours, it's 3 drivers gone. If they're 2 12-hour shifts, it's still 2 drivers. But see, we only work 4 or 5 days a week, which if you're working 12-hour shifts, probably 3 days a week. If you're working 8-hour shifts, it's 5 days a week. You still have another 2 to 3 employees per day to replace on those extra days. Waymo can do it all. There's all those jobs gone, gone, poof, gone, done, forever, gone forever. And we're just beginning. Now, I've also got to say this. All of you white-collar fucks out there, you're going to be replaced. In fact, the example I gave earlier was a manager. Fucking computer can figure out how to schedule people, go over their hours, hire and fire. Right? Keep track of all that shit. Even in some jobs, they'll be able to tell how proficient or productive an employee is. Right? They're going to get rid of a lot of white-collar jobs, design jobs. Well, it's been getting, so architects, designers, engineers, draftsmen, gone. Computer's going to do it all. What the fuck are they going to do with us, folks? Wild business. All right, Mr. Uman, let's do it. We got 10 minutes left on this Sunday Night Live. We got Dangerous Freedom says, hey, Trump and J.D. Vance were put into office to build the AI beast system because Republicans would never go for it with the Dems in charge. Oh, yeah. The MAGA crowd is just as fucking stupid as the Obama supporters. Well, I'm not going to say that. I will not go that far. I will disagree with you. The MAGA crowd is as easily duped as the Obama supporters. I don't think they're stupid like them, though. But I will say this, they can and are being duped in a lot of ways. Because instead of looking at all ideas at their merit, Mr. Freedoms, a lot of people just pick a team and whatever that team says, they do. Right? I noticed this a long time ago when I still gave a shit about sports. Is I thought, wait a minute, that guy I'm cheering for today, I wanted to fucking kill last week when he played for that other team. But he switched uniforms. He switched teams, and now I like him. Right? Thinking. What am I saying? What am I hearing? What am I seeing? What am I thinking? Right now I'm voting for a uniform. That's really what the Republican Party is. Hey, did you hear? Uncle Festerman, Senator Festerman is thinking about becoming a Republican. I'm like, the dude has fucking brain damage. And he's a Democrat. What makes you think I want him to claim to be a Republican? Because he'll never be truly a constitutional, conservative, right-wing Republican. In fact, most Republicans aren't any of those things. They're just Republicans in name only, just to fill out the ticket. So it appears that we've got two teams, and you pick a team, and no matter what they say, you always root for them. Right? Oh, it's a first-string quarterback. He's my favorite. He gets hurt. They put in another quarterback. Yeah, that's the best guy ever. It's just fucking stupid. George Washington, right? First president under the Constitution, said we should not have political parties. And this is exactly why. Back then they did. They had the Whigs and the Tories. And it's people start rooting for teams. People start rooting for teams instead of living through philosophical ideas and idealism. Right? So the best example I can give, Dangerous Freedom, is when Trump was president and they came out with Operation Warp Speed and the Jim Jones juice. When that happened, what happened? A lot of Republicans are like, yeah, Trump, let's do it. Democrats said, no way in hell. We're not taking that. Anything Trump says, we're not doing it, right? They threw a giant fit. We're not ever taking that shit. And then Biden isn't blindly rooting for a team uniform the definition being ignorant, stupid. No, it is not. Stupid is not duped. Stupid means incapable. In my opinion, being stupid means you're incapable of learning, you're unintelligent. I have met a lot of intelligent morons. They got into college, they got a degree, and they're a fucking moron. Right? So, the whole argument, I guess, over ignorance and stupid, I don't know. Fuck it. I don't want to go down that road. Blindly rooting for a team, I think, is stupid. Rooting for a team, stupid. But back to what happened with Operation Warp Speed. And I do disagree that Republicans are as stupid as fucking Democrats on the basis of gender ideology alone. As dumb as Republicans can be, as brainwashed as they might be, at least they know their fucking gender. I mean, that's stupid when you can't stick your hand in your own pants and figure out what your fucking gender is, boy or girl. That's fucking stupid. Now, being duped and fooled into thinking you need to vote for a team, right? You're not philosophically grounded. You're not principled enough to regulate and govern yourself. You're listening to someone else because you are not taking the time to educate yourself and question yourself and come to an understanding of what you believe. You're letting someone else do those thinkings for you. Now, back to that other thing about teams. Biden gets elected. Biden is sworn in as president. And now every single fucking Democrat wants to take the Jim Jones juice and tell you to take it. Where when President Trump was president, they were never going to take it ever. But now that Biden's president and says take it, they will. And Republicans are like, I'm not doing anything that Biden said. But when Trump was president, half of them said, yeah, no problem. Thanks, Trump. Woohoo, we're going to be okay. I'm taking that shit. I didn't care what anyone fucking said or who was president. I wasn't taking that shit, and I still haven't, nor will I. But I got to tell you, folks, we are living in an idiocracy, a dangerous idiocracy. Please, and this is part of being prepared, being principled, having strong foundations, having a philosophical understanding of the world, understanding basic psychology, basic politics, at the very least, so that you are grounded in who you are and you don't accept that team's idea. Because the team that wants to make you a slave, they're going to lie to you. They're going to cheat. They're going to steal. If you understand that every time the government tells you something, it is at the very least sprinkled with horseshit and lies. And you'll be lucky to get any truth. And if it's a very important or dangerous situation, you're not going to get any fucking truth out of it. Anyways, what a great topic. A lot of fun to have fun with and discuss. Mr. Uman, do we have more? I know we're running out of time. Let's do it right now. What's the super chat of the moment? Bam, it's Do Stuff with Nikki. $25 super chat donation. She says, we all need to take 2 steps back and realize all politicians are parasites. I agree. What is a parasite, folks? A parasite is an organism that lives off of its host organism. In other words, one parasite lives off of another thing. So politicians are parasites and they're living off of us, taxpayers. Politicians, all of them, are parasites living off of us, deriving their power from us, their wealth from us, their control from us. We have a uniparty, meaning the Republicans and the Democrats. One's the right wing, one's the left wing. They both belong to the same shitbird. We have a uniparty and are doing the back and forth they want. It's a huge cult. P.S. Tyler's a patsy. That's the guy that shot Charlie Kirk. And Crash Patel is a douche. That's the FBI director. So is that blonde idiot, meaning Pam Bondi. Do you guys still think that James Comey is going to actually be arrested, booked, arraigned, held for trial, given bail, show up for trial, have a trial, have a jury selected, have a fair trial, have a jury come to a real conclusion that's not partisan, be found guilty, sentenced, and not have the appeal overturned? Right? There's a lot of fucking steps between here and James Comey in jail. I don't think Crash Patel or Pam Bondi is going to get it done. I just don't. I don't. In fact, I believe the attorney, who is the Department of Justice prosecutor that has put out that took the indictment from the grand jury and is carrying it forward, is extremely inexperienced, going up against a very experienced deep state lawyer, James Comey. He's not afraid at all. I'd like somebody to put the fear of God in that fuck stick. By that, I mean an attorney with lawsuits, not guns. It ain't that day yet. It ain't that time. But I tell you what, it's probably going to come sooner than as late as a lot of people think it might happen. Thank you, Nikki, very much. Kabam. Mr. Uman, we are at the 2-hour mark. Do we have more? What is going on here? And we do. It is Blue Cord Devil wrapping the show up. Woohoo! With a $50 super chat donation. And here we go. $50 super chat gets me an 18-year Glenfiddich Scotch. Not much left here in this bottle. I guess I'm going to have to drink it and buy another one with these super chat donations. Thank you, guys. It does make the show a lot more fun for me. Makes it more interesting. Additionally, I want to remind everyone that alcohol was around before pharmaceutical drugs. Drugs that are taken now to fix problems, but indeed cause side effects that are probably, in a lot of cases, worse than problems they're supposed to complete. But alcohol is a disinfectant. Well, it's also refreshing. It's a painkiller, pain reliever. It's a antidepressant. It's a sleep aid. It's a miracle concoction. Oh, so smooth when you go to 18 year, folks. So smooth. So Blue Cord Devil writes, peace and prayers, John, Jolene, Uman, and everyone else. Watch your six, stay calm, armed, and your head on a swivel. All good advice. And Blue Cord Devil, I appreciate the great support that you provide all the time, as well as the prayers, the care, concern that we all as Americans should have for one another, for each other, for ourselves, and for our nation. Right? Our nation, the United States of America, folks. The Declaration of Independence. The enemy has always been with us and around us, and now they're all over us. Chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. The prepared mind, food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. The prepared mind, what are you going to do? Like I said earlier, if you're driving and you see protests, if you're in your car and protest comes upon you, if you're walking down the street, if you're in a store, at church, in a shopping mall, in a restaurant, filling up with gas, what are you going to do when a situation that could be instantly life or death falls upon you? Only the prepared mind knows.